semifinals, so this is their second chance. Top three will make it to the AB semifinal. The remaining crews to the C final, which will determine places 13 through 18 of the 18 countries that are entered into the lightweight women's double sculls event.
A much more patient start there by the Americans. It looked like a slightly lower rate than what they normally row with, but a few bobbles on the left-hand side of the boat. But it has kept them in contact with all of the crews all across as they get started here. An important thing for them because in their heat, they were less than a second from qualifying straight to the next step, less than a second from having to go through this repechage, but caught a little crab, a little digger where the oar got stuck in the water, and they had to dig it out, which lost them a few feet on the leaders, which might have kept them from qualifying straight through.
Yeah, the U.S. finished third in their heat, just about a half a second behind Italy for that second spot. And the fastest time of any of the 12 boats that did not go directly to the AB semifinal, their time actually would have won that heat that Netherlands and Canada won their heats. But they had that huge lead and didn't have to push, so you can't necessarily judge them based on time. But U.S. has an opportunity here to make sure that they still have a chance for a medal in the lightweight women's double sculls if they can finish in the top three here of this repechage. That is the bow of the U.S. boat in lane 4 that crosses the 500-meter mark first, just ahead of Japan, then Belarus and Argentina. Right now at the bottom of the screen, Tunisia and Indonesia are lagging behind.
Before they came to Tokyo, I actually asked Molly and Michelle if they could describe their crew, what would it be? And one of the things that Michelle said was bootstrapping underdogs, just that they dig in, they had to win U.S. trials, they had to go to the final Olympic qualification regatta in May, and then to come here as well, they really had to take things one step at a time, which is exactly what Molly said. Whatever happens, they will find a way. See every challenge as an opportunity. So much like the crab that they caught in their heat, that is an opportunity to come into this rep, learn from that, and go down the course one more time together to get a little more practice together before they head into the semifinals and potentially the finals.
Well, Redford and Sexer won the lightweight women's double sculls Olympic trials in Sarasota in February. And they had to overcome some adversity just to get to this point. About 6 seconds into the race, Sexer lost control of her right oar, somehow managed to corral it within a second and get back on track. Sexer actually compared it to a scene for the movie Angels in the Outfield. As the oar landed miraculously back in her hand, the duo managed to win the race. Then they won the final Olympic qualification regatta in May, and then Redford and Sexer were superstitious and refused to refer to the Olympics by name until they qualified, calling it the O word, or the July regatta, until they finally made sure that they were through. At the halfway point, they are putting some space between themselves and Japan, and they need to finish in the top three to advance to the AB semifinal.
And you might be wondering, there are two women's doubles here. This is the lightweight women's double. And what that means is that the women in these boats have to be right about 125 pounds on average and no greater than just under 130 pounds maximum. So they are racing at a weight that is restricted. And you might not think, there's enough stress at this level, it's enough pressure, but they also have to think about what they're eating, making a weight, and they weigh in just 2 hours before they have to race. So that would add an extra layer of distraction potentially. And now with this condensed racing timeline, it gives them less time to make sure they are on weight following a flight. You retain water when you fly, it can impact your body weight. So those are other things that these athletes specifically are having to manage on top of the stress of being at the Olympic Games themselves.
Look at the lead that the United points generated here in the third 500 of a 2,000-meter race on the third day of the rowing competition in the U.S. the Olympic Rowing Regatta. Molly Reckford and Michelle Sexer, the leaders here in the repechage.
They did draw a nice rep here. For them to be able to be out in front like this allows them to practice. And if I were them, I would just be practicing staying clean.
A healthy lead for Team USA as they head into the final 500. Belarus and Japan following them up. Top three will advance to the semifinal. Argentina is right now in fourth place, trying to get into one of those top three spots. Otherwise, they, along with Tunisia and Indonesia, will be headed to the C final, which means the best they could finish here in Tokyo would be 13th out of the 18.
Now, when they have a lead like this, they, unless something happens, they should cross the finish line in a good position that will move them forward. So the question is, are they going to practice a little bit of a sprint, or are they going to hold back a little bit to conserve some energy? Some crews choose to practice, some crews choose to conserve energy. So I'll be interested to see which they choose to do here, given this large margin of open water that they have on the field.
They are into the red buoys, which means they are into the final 250 meters, and you see the speed of Team USA holding steady at the current moment. They've got plenty of open water in front of them, and they only need a top three finish to do what they came to this repechage to do. The race for third is becoming interesting. Argentina in lane one at the top of the screen, and in the middle of the screen is the Japanese boat. And Japan has pulled ahead of Argentina as Molly Reckford and Michelle Sexer put in the final touches on a win in their repechage, and they will make sure they still have a chance for a medal as they advance to the AB semifinal along with the Belarusians from lane 2, and it will be the boat from Japan in lane 3 that claims that final spot in the AB semifinal.